Hello, it's 8 o'clock here, Central European Time, and I am live to talk about how we can become safe for our dogs, how we can be safe humans for our dogs. So I'm just going to let Facebook find you and you find me before I start talking. If you are watching this from our Facebook group, Back to Basics, you need to actually come here to the main Facebook page if you want to ask any questions. Because I can't see your comments from the group. I can only see comments here from the main page. So I'm Lisbeth. I'm the founder of Nordic Dog Trainer. And if you've seen me before live, you know that I would love to know where you are. Because these are very international. Thanks to internet, the big internet, we can go all over the world. So if you would like to tell me where you are, I would love to hear from you in the comments below. So I'm going to take some question at the end. If you have any questions about dogs that are fearful, I'm going to talk about how we can behave tonight. This is one of my favorite things to talk about, how we can actually with very small adjustments to our body language and our way of actually being around dogs, not just your own dog but other dogs as well. If you're working with dogs, I'm sure you met dogs that are insecure, maybe even fearful. So this is things you have to take into consideration. If you're working as a dog trainer and you are training other people's dogs and their humans, especially in group activities, you can very easily see if you have fearful dogs in your group. And we can adjust the training very well to help those dogs actually learn something as well. Okay, so we have Martina in Austria, Jill is in Wales, Pip is here from the UK, Justina is in Poland, LJ is in New Hampshire, and Ellen is here from the Netherlands. Some of you I know a little bit, some of you I don't. Jody, I know you. Thank you for being here tonight. So if you have any questions or anything you want to talk about, this is a broad subject, I know. And one of the most common problems that we have with our dogs these days are actually that they are fearful. So these are good tips for you if you have a dog that is fearful. We have Greece is here as well, Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and Monica is here in the US. Thank you for being here, everyone. Okay, I'm going to find my notes. So if I'm looking not at the camera, I'm looking at my notes. I'm always preparing my Facebook Live so that I will remember what to say. Okay. So when we are around dogs that are fearful or a little bit insecure, then what it's all about, it's not obedience training. It's not telling the dog what to do, to sit or to go and lay in its place or something like that. It's all about how we behave, and it's about predictability, space, and choice. And dogs, they don't fake their feelings. Believe me. They don't, for some reason, we think sometimes that they are humans, but they're not. They're dogs. So they don't have a plan for what they do. They don't do things to spite us, to annoy us. What they do and what they show is how they feel. And if they don't feel safe, you will absolutely see a lot of signs. And if they feel safe, you will see that too. They will show us. So knowing the calming signals, knowing how dogs use their body language to communicate is extremely important when it comes to understanding your dog. And especially if you have then a dog that is fearful or a bit insecure, it's even more important. I don't know if I can even say even more important, because we should all know them no matter the state of your dog. So, what are we doing that might make the dog feel unsafe around us? Number one, it's direct eye contact. I'm sure most of you know this already, but it's actually looking them in the eyes for a longer time, staring. Uh, if you think about it, if you're standing up, well, most dogs are lower than us, they're not as tall as us. So when we stand up and look down at the dog, we immediately get a softer look in our eyes. It's not the same as being at the same level with the dog if you sit on the floor and if you look the dog straight into the eyes, for example. Other things we do is walking straight towards the dog and not doing a curve. I'm talking a lot about that in my previous Facebook Lives as well this year. Leaning over the dog and reaching out. So this week's tip of the week, I did a recording last week on Friday. If you're on our email list, you got this tip of the week, which is a 10-minute recording with something useful for you every week. So I talked about how we should stop reaching out to touch our dogs. That's important. That's something that we can easily change now. We just have to stop doing it. We have to let our dogs, or the dogs you don't know and your own dog, come to you if they want to be petted. Also, loud or high-pitched voices can make dogs scared or fearful or nervous. And when you think about it, it's not only you talking to the dog, but in your household. So if you're talking to your partner or your children or someone else, human being in your household, and you have a high-pitched, loud, irritated, or maybe even angry voice, your dog can be nervous. I've had dogs, taken in dogs that were rehomed to me, adult dogs that were extremely sensitive for the tone of voice that we used. When I say we, I used to be married, not anymore, but we had to really pay attention to how we were talking to each other with the dogs. Because one of them, he was in particular very, very fearful. And maybe it's something from his past, but every time we raised our voice, he would become very scared. So that's something that you should keep in mind when you interact with other humans in your household, or even talking on the phone. Fast and unpredictable movements is also, might be scary to dogs. And of course, forcing interactions. Things like hugging or, forcing them. Lifting dogs, smaller dogs, doing all these kind of things that they don't have any choice of getting away with. So we just come over to the dog, we lift the dog up. If it's a cute adult tiny dog, you lift the dog up, or if it's a puppy, and especially if you don't even know the dog, it might even feel more scary for the dog. And of course, especially dogs with traumas or lack of socialization, or that are sensitive to these kind of things, you need to help out your dog. If that is your dog, you need to tell the other people around your dog how to behave around your dog, not to scare him even more. So what can we do to be more safe as a human around our dogs? First of all, we can do very, very tiny changes to our body posture. and that is to turn our body slightly away from the dog when we're talking to. That's how dogs are polite to each other as well. They look to the side, they don't look directly onto the other dog, and they turn their head slightly away from the other dog. That's being polite in the dog world. So we can do the same. We should also stay calm and let the dog approach you. Don't reach out. Don't let the dog come to you. And you will very soon see when the dog is ready to be touched. So when I started working with dogs as my paid job, this is now 13, 14 years ago, I used to visit people at home. I didn't have a venue or an office yet, so in the beginning, I went to people's houses to help them out with problem behavior. The dogs, not the people. And I had to be very mindful about my body language when I entered the house, because these were consultations with problem behavior, very, very often caused by stress, by being fearful, all these kind of things, lack of socialization, any of those things. So I had to learn to be very mindful about my body language, and I think it was such a I took it as and I can't remember the word in English. It's a normal word. I just had to as a compliment when the dog owners told me that they were surprised because their dog didn't show the behavior they were expecting him or her to show. So let me give you a couple of examples. Some dog owners had problems with their dogs rushing to the door, being high energy dogs, barking, jumping, going crazy when people entered the house. That was one type of very common problem. Another one was that they were fearful or even, showing aggressive signals, being aggressive, growling, and, trying to pose as a threat because they were fearful when people entered the house. So when the dog owners, they would say when I entered and the dog did not show these emotions like growling if it was scared, growling, or barking or jumping if it was a high energy adolescent dog who was just overly excited, happy, maybe stressed. And then when I came, because I knew how to use my body language, they said, oh, it's so typical that he didn't do what he normally does. So you didn't get to see the behavior. Because for the owner, that was very important for me to see how the dog behaved. So they felt like, now you don't really see the problem. And I explained that I know exactly the problem. I have my own dogs and I've seen them. I've had these issues with my own dogs. And we know how the dogs are reacting. We don't have to see it. And to be honest, we don't want to see them. If you're a dog trainer or a behavior specialist, that's the last thing you want to see, because that that's kind of ruining your whole training, right? You don't start the training with the dog being in that state of mind, being fearful or nervous or whatever the issue is. So that kind of ruins everything you do. So you don't want that to happen, right? So to me, the answer was very, very easy. It's because the way I entered the house. It was me, the humans. So we went through everything, how I used my body language. So I never approached head on. I kind of ignored the dog, meaning that I was keeping eye contact with the owner instead of the dog. I never bent over. I never reached my hand out. I never did any of those things. I let them choose and come to me whenever they felt comfortable doing so. And for some dogs that took 30 seconds. For other dogs it could be, 10, 15 minutes. I even had a dog that I picked up in a kind of a shelter. We don't have shelters as such in Norway, but it was a place where they rehome dog. Very, very sad case. Beautiful, rough collie, tricolor, so black, brown, and white. He was 6 years old, and he'd never been taken care of. You know, they never brushed him or did anything, so he looked horrible. He had diarrhea. He was throwing up. He was so scared, this dog. And it took more than a week for him to actually come up to me close and approach me and wanting me to touch him. So I didn't touch him in my own house. And I could do that because I know that this is not possible for most of us, but back then I was living on a farm with fenced areas, and it was just possible to do so. I could let him out. He had huge spaces to walk, huge. So it wasn't a problem. So I actually didn't pet my own dog for more than a week after he came to my house. And then I can still remember in the evening I was sitting on the couch watching television, and he came up to me and sat down in front of me with his nose, coming really up in my face, asking me to touch him. I also had 2 cats, also rehomed, that was terrified to humans. They'd never been close to humans at all. And that took much longer than a week. That was almost a year where I didn't touch them. They came into the house. They even slept in my bed when I wasn't in my bedroom before I touched them. I always wait till they come to me. So it can take anything from, a minute to weeks. So, but it's important that you do so, because when you have the patience to wait, I think really there will be a bond there. The dog will trust you forever. It's how you build trust. Okay. I don't see your comments at the moment because I have the notes in front of me, so I'll come back and see if there are any comments or questions in just a minute. Other things that we can do with our body language is so-called soft eyes. Like I said, to look down at the dog is a softer look than being at the same level with the dog. And of course not stare, and do slow movements, slow blinking. You can yawn. That's one of the calming signals that dogs use, but doesn't always make a big difference. But if you do these things together, you're sending them calming signals back. Do not copy what they're doing. Just behave in the same way. Looking away a little bit, not staring directly at them, maybe yawning, like I said, looking away, turning your body a little bit away, your shoulders at least, that kind of thing. So you need to match the energy of the dog, not the other way around. If you have to speak, you should at least speak calmly. They have a very good hearing, so we don't have to be loud anyhow. You can even whisper, but to be honest, saying nothing says more than anything. Being quiet is the best thing, and that was the most difficult for myself to learn, because I'm a talker. But we want the best for them. We want to explain to them, showing, come here, I'm such a friendly person, you can trust me. And then we're talking and we're moving our hands and our eyes. Everything is just giving very mixed signals to the dog. So we showing a threatening body language, but our voice might be soft and kind, but they don't understand the meaning of the word, so they're confused. So we can be much more clearer and kinder in the way we are around our dogs. And coming back to moving slow, I think I talked about this before as well. That's one of my most important and best and effective tools when I'm around dogs that are fearful. Moving slow. I've had to move slow inside my own house many times when I took in rehomed dogs that were very fearful. I needed to move slow so I didn't create any tension between the dogs that were already here and the new dog, and I had to move slow to not scare the new dog that was fearful. So, to sum up, try and speak less. Maybe even say nothing. I know this is difficult for some of us, but try. You don't have to talk to the dog all the time. And let the dog choose when he or she wants to approach you. And of course, these are basic things. I think you already know them, but don't pet them on their head. Actually, the best way is to pet it on the side closest to you. I don't have a dog here to show you, but the side of the dog that is closest to you, to stroke the dog with the hairs along the body. That's a nice, kind way of first touching the dog. And they will, when they get to know you, they will show you how and where they want to be touched. Okay. Let me see if there are any comments. I think I will talk a lot about this because it's just important. And it's important because we have a lot of dogs around us that are fearful. And the only way to help them is to behave differently, to help build their confidence. That's how you get less fearful, is to build your confidence. Okay, so we have Italy is here, and more people from Austria and the UK, and Alice is here from New York. Okay, so Jody is apparently having the same problem as myself, still working on the not talking, and I feel I know how you feel. It's difficult. Pip is asking this, or saying, this is such a helpful reminder. I've been trying to turn my head, look away, be slow and calm. It does make a difference. It absolutely does. This is not something I think. This is proven. It's the truth. It's how it is. So Pip has a question. In the morning, my dog comes up to me and wants me to rub her chest. She yawns and licks her lips sometimes and licks my hand. What is the most appropriate response? It depends. I don't know. Haven't seen it. So this is a very common question. The dogs are coming up to us and they are showing calming signals at the same time as they are showing us that they want to be touched. And that's fine, because calming signals is also, it's a way to be polite around each other. So you say she yawns and licks her lips and sometimes lick my hand. The appropriate response is to, how can I say this? To just do what your dog is asking you to do. Because if they don't want to be touched, they are moving away. If you don't hold the dog, then they're free to move away, right? So if they don't want to be touched, they will move away. Especially if it's your own dog and he knows you. So it's not a problem to continue petting your dog, even though they're licking their lips or showing some kind of calming signals. It's also a way to interact in a polite manner. And yawning can mean different things. It's not only a calming signal, it's also something they do when they're tired. So, yeah. Okay. I don't see any more questions here, and I'm trying to keep these lives to around 30 minutes. So if you have more questions, any of you, you need to post them now. And I just made a post this afternoon here on our Facebook page. Katrina, one of our teachers, she is doing an online course called, hold on, Learn to Observe the Dog, or Your Dog. I can't remember exactly. It's here on the page. If you scroll down a little bit, it starts in April and it's fully online. It's a totally new course, and it's Katrina's course in cooperation with the Nordic dog trainer. So if you want to learn more about how to learn to observe your dog's language, and especially the calming signals and the distance increasing signals, that's the course for you. Yes, I think it's great, Jody. I've seen the course outline, everything. Okay. So I've said this before and I'll say it again. Meta is doing something new. They are now deleting all videos on our profiles. You get a warning a few months before they actually do. So it's still here. All of our Facebook Lives are still here. If you go to videos in the menu, you can see all the recordings of the Facebook Lives. But we are moving them one by one over to our YouTube channel so they can stay there forever, kind of. Because if you don't move them, Facebook will move them. But I think the last update I was in June, so it's not happening tomorrow or anything. Just don't worry yet. I'm just starting to tell you. So it's not coming as a surprise. So I might actually move my Facebook Live over to YouTube in the future. I know we have followers as well that are not on Facebook. So that will happen as soon as I learn how to do it. It's a technical thing. And I don't really like learning technical things, but sometimes I have to. So in the future, these lives are most likely not going to be here, but on a different platform. Very likely YouTube. Okay, we have another question from Tony. I am under the impression that it is important for my dog, female 15 months old, to lick my face. My wife finds it horrible and does not want me to allow it. What is your thoughts? My thoughts are, that's all up to you. That's what I think about this. It's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It depends on what you like. If you don't mind, let him. If you don't really enjoy it, don't. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the face. Everywhere else, I'm okay with it, but the face, but that's my personal opinion, absolutely. But it hasn't. It's not a problem. It's not. You're not teaching your dog to do something that could be a problem later on. Alice is asking about the course, I think, if it's similar to the Carmen course I'm in. Yes and no. Yes and no. Yeah. So of course it is about learning how dogs speak in the language, but the whole setup of the course and everything is different. So yeah. If you're already doing Turid's course now this semester, I don't think you need to do this now. You might want to do it later. Yeah. Okay, so Tony, don't like it, but it calms her. My wife is afraid that she wants to do it with other people. Alice, I'm going to just say to Alice, um, send us an email and I will forward it to Katrina, and then you can talk to her about it, because it's not my course, it's Katrina's course, and it's explained on the course page how the course is set up. If you have any questions, I'm very happy to forward to Katrina, so that she can tell you the difference. So it calms the dog down. My wife is afraid that she wants to do it with other people. I think it's very likely that the dog, if the dog likes to do it with you, that it would still like to do it with other people as well. But then it's a choice, right? So you can use the hand signal. I mean, the face, if it's in the face, you can easily get up so you're standing and the dog won't reach the face. I would use the hand signal. I would turn away. First of all, in a situation like that, if I'm visiting someone, a friend, okay, and the dog is coming up in the couch with me and wants to lick my face, I turn my head around. If that doesn't help, I would use the hand signal, turn my head around. If that doesn't help, I would get up. So it's not really a problem. The dog, a dog, they're very it's not difficult for them to understand or to teach them that certain things they can do with some people and certain things they cannot do with some people. So it's not a problem. That's why I say you do what you prefers. And if you don't like it, I don't think you should do it. There are other ways to calm your dog down, right? So that's my opinion. Okay. So I'll be back in a week from now. I have so many topics lined up for these. If you want to have more tips and you're not on the email list, then you can. You can sign up at the email list at our website. That's how you can join our email list. Because every Friday I have a small recording, like short recording, 10 minutes or so, with different, what I call tip of the week. Okay, have a very nice evening, everyone, wherever you are in all of these exciting countries. And I'll see you next Wednesday at 8 o'clock here. If this was useful for you and you think it might be useful for other people, just share this live and we can reach more people and help their dogs. Have a very nice evening, everyone. Bye.